Hello there. What is going on, everyone? We are going to talk about Star Wars Legion. Is it safe? Let's talk about the future of Star Wars Legion under Atomic Mass Games with the pending news of X-Wing and Armada development coming to a halt. I've had a lot of people ask me this. I did talk about it briefly in my live stream reaction, but I had said that I was going to talk about this in a more of a dedicated video because it's a question that keeps getting asked and keeps getting asked. And instead of making you wait for the whole video, I will try to summarize right now quickly, and then I will go into it. So in short, I am absolutely certain that Star Wars Legion is safe for the relative future, and I see no reason at all to panic. However, there always is a chance that the unexpected can happen. So that isn't it's not a 100% chance. It's probably like a good like a 98%, 99% chance that everything is going to be sunshine and roses for Star Wars Legion. But I'm going to dig into that a little bit deeper. I'm going to talk about why, because I'm not just giving you my opinion here, but I like to think that it's an informed opinion based on some facts, observations, and my own experience with these games over the past 10 and a half years or so of covering games from FFG and under the Asmodee umbrella, including Atomic Mass Games. So let's talk about this. I want to also do a little admin stuff again. If you are new here to the channel, we talk a lot about Star Wars and tabletop games. I'd love to have you guys stick around. We are doing another round of the $25 Amazon gift card giveaway. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos in order to have a chance to enter to win that. And there's links to social media and Discord and all that other good stuff in the video description below. So, all right, admin stuff out of the way. Let's talk about Star Wars Legion. So, obviously, the elephant in the room. Recently, both AMG and Asmodee both announced that X-Wing and Armada development was coming to an end, and that while they would still be supported with organized play through Worlds of 2025, that's pretty much the end of it. That, of course, had a lot of viewers, a lot of you guys, a lot of people in other media channels as well. Not just me, but I saw it a lot on my channels and my chat stream stuff and Discord comments, and I've seen it all over. People asking the question, well, this doesn't bode well for Star Wars Legion, and I feel like it's my duty to let you guys know that Legion is safe, at least from everything that I can observe. And I'll tell you why. It comes on multiple fronts. So a big driving force of this was almost certainly the Embracer Group shenanigans, where like what 900 million or so was in debt that has to be paid off within a year, give or take, was transferred to Asmodee, and they've got to I think almost triple their profits, to try to like stay afloat. And while they are a profitable company, that puts a lot of pressure on them to trim the fat wherever they can. That being said, technically, X-Wing and Armada still had some plans. Not a whole lot, not as fast as people would have liked, but those games still had plans of being supported and continued to kind of be there. Armada probably would have been first on the chopping block, but X-Wing definitely struck everybody as a surprise because there was still stuff that was announced, like the gunboat that never made it to being reprinted, even though they had art and they had talked about this at the previous Adepticon. So that was definitely a surprise. There was definitely a lot of X-Wing's very much in an unfinished state, although technically so is Armada. So it definitely had a lot of Legion players worried what's going on here. And I think those games had every intention of continuing to keep going, except the fact that they were likely way less profitable than Legion and Shatterpoint and MCP because of the fact that they're pre-painted games. And that's our first thing that Legion has absolutely going for it in this world where profitability is very, very important, especially for a larger company. If AMG were a smaller company like FFG used to be once upon a time, then maybe they could have easily justified keeping this going. But when you're, a parent company under Asmodee that just gets saddled with all of this debt from Embracer Group, of course, it's going to have a big impact. Now, since Legion is profitable and comes as minis on a sprue, That's a good thing for Legion, and also it happens to be one of the most popular games under Asmodee's lineup. They have certain games like Ticket to Ride that are always going to do well across all of the spectrums, but from a lot of the stuff that I have read with the Embracer Group stuff and a lot of the initial reports, at least at the time where that was making headlines, Legion was, and I want to say in Asmodee's top 5 games, and I believe it's probably, as far as sales are concerned and profits are concerned, I think it's AMG's #1 most profitable game. That's just dollars speaking. I'm not talking about, gameplay systems being the best or whatever, although it's probably my current favorite out of AMG's currently supported games. I would probably rank them Legion, then MCP as a close second, and then Shatterpoint as a distant third, as far as the 3 that are out there right now. If anything, I would think that Shatterpoint is probably in the biggest danger category. For one, a lot of people are reporting it as selling the least out of those 3, and on the other hand, also it's they have this whole terrain thing where I don't know. I don't want to get too far off topic, but I think Shatterpoint is probably doing the least out of all 3 of those. Although I don't expect that it's fallen into the category of needing to get chopped. I think they're still trying to, there's a lot of investment that goes into making a new game. So there's that. Speaking of investments, that brings me to point 2 for why Legion is safe. AMG has dumped a ton of their time and effort into this big, and I'll say it a 4th time, big initiative, and that is to take the entire product line of Star Wars Legion and ensure that everything is reprinted in hard plastic. This is a very big line to be able to do that, and pretty much the majority of your Rebel and Imperial stuff was only done in the soft plastic under FFG. It was a long-term FFG plan to eventually come back and redo everything in hard plastic. And now here we find AMG is doing that, and I believe starting next year we're going to see the first new expansions roll out of the completely redesigned from the ground up hard plastic new sculpts and everything for like stormtroopers and in a lot of that core set material. They're even going so far as to redo General Grievous, which points us to another thing that is also a very good thing for Star Wars Legion, and that's the fact that it's still definitely included in all of the big convention talk, whether it comes to Adepticon announcements or mini Stravaganza. Legion's got big news coming. Will Schick talked about that in our interview. There's going to be a big reason to watch this, to watch Mini Stravaganza for Legion, and it's not just new product related, although I am definitely hoping we get our Gungans because that's a great way to go. But there's going to be some other stuff coming for Star Wars Legion, and I have talked about this before. I do feel it's going to be a shake-up to the game, possibly a second edition or a slight change in scope, because it definitely seems like one of the things that AMG really wants to do right now is to differentiate Legion and Shatterpoint. If you play both games, you know that they do play differently. However, they are still dudes on a map, and so people walking by could easily get those 2 games confused if you were playing Legion on a 3x3, like Legion Skirmish or something like that. And there are some builds that also keep the armies kind of similar in scale. If you go with like a lot of heroes in Legion, you might have a smaller army, and that could, at least on a certain level, look a little bit like Shatterpoint. So I think they're trying to look at addressing the scope of Star Wars Legion and potentially making it stand out a little bit more from Shatterpoint in an effort to keep all 3 game lines strong and distinct. And I think that's where Legion is going to go. I think it's going to be a very distinct, large, big army game a little bit more after their announcement. But regardless, they have put time and effort into this announcement, and it's probably going to be something good for the future of Legion. Again, a lot of hints that it's going to be a second edition or something similar to that type of scope, presenting big changes to Legion. Now, I don't think these are going to be dangerous changes. I don't think these are going to be changes that render your collections obsolete. If anything, I think they're going to be changes that encourage you to feel secure in Legion and also encourage you to want to buy more. I think that's definitely one of the things they're going to do is like, how can I talk you into buying more? Maybe, hey, maybe now you can run more stormtroopers than you could before. Oh, and by the way, here's more stormtroopers that are coming out. And so anyway, any company that's going to reinvest in reinventing its entire game line in new, better sculpts with hard plastic is definitely has an awful lot of time and effort invested in that game, and that's really another good reason why Legion's going to be around for such a very long time. Now, I say all this to also throw out the disclaimer that nothing is 100% certain. It is entirely possible that, Legion could have a shorter lifespan than we anticipate, or at least, a shorter lifespan as we know it now. It could always undergo a transformation, because it's happened before. Nobody expected all of the Star Wars games to leave Fantasy Flight Games and move over to Atomic Mass Games. Nobody expected, X-Wing to be just, kind of suddenly dropped from all of the, product pages like they were done, and then summarily dismissed by Asmodee and Atomic Mass Games shortly thereafter. Well, not many people expected that. Not on the grand scale. I think we kind of saw the writing on the wall coming fairly quickly, but I don't think we expected it to be that abrasive. So definitely the unexpected can happen. However, the cool thing about games like Legion, X-Wing, and Armada are that they are very successful games. They have been very successful for a very, very, very long time. And that level of success is not just because the miniatures are cool. It's not just because of Star Wars. It's also because the game system is awesome and works really well and is here to stay. And so I think that even if Legion were to sunset at some point, and maybe it will someday in the very distant future, I have a feeling that the game system, the game engine would persist. The communities, of course, would take over, but it's also very likely that another company could potentially take over. We've seen that happen, or eventually an Asmodee company could pick it back up. Similar things have happened with games like Blood Bowl. There has been other games that have kind of gone away and come back and been revived, that have been kept on life support by a community, and then another company has picked them back up. There's also companies out there like Restoration Games that will take an older game system and kind of reinvent it. If you've ever played Star Wars Epic Duels and have loved that game and wished for it to come back, and then all of a sudden Restoration comes back with Unmatched, which is the same system but just not licensed for Star Wars, so I imagine, so there's a ton of possibilities on things that could happen in the distant future if the unthinkable happened. However, I only say that to give you even more comfort, because there's no writing on the wall at all for Star Wars Legion. It is here to stay, and it's going to be growing, and I'm really interested in the third week of July. They actually just announced mini extravaganza dates. I'm really excited to see what we're going to see announced for games like Star Wars Legion, for Marvel Crisis Protocol, and even for Shatterpoint. I think it could be a very fortuitous couple of days in gaming where we get a lot of interesting stuff. Now, obviously, that's for the Legion, Shatterpoint, and MCP fans. The X-Wing and Armada folks aren't going to get anything, most likely. Well, almost certainly we're not going to get anything. But keep your eyes peeled, because sometimes surprises can still happen. And that's always a cool thing. Plus, the communities are great for these games and are going to keep them going. There's going to be more videos I'm going to do talking about Adepticon and Worlds and all of the support that has been pouring out from the community. Very cool stuff. I will talk to you guys later, though. That's going to do it for this. I just wanted to say Legion is safe. There's no need to panic. There's no need to worry. But I can't fault you too much if you're at least a little jostled, because surprising news has a tendency to do that. All right, guys, I'm going to talk to you guys later. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are out of this world and help make this whole channel possible. I will talk to you later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. And always wash your socks.